little history on AgSystems. We're actually we're a small company, so we're flexible. We can work with you guys if you need something kind of custom tailored. But we're also a big enough company that we've been in the business since the early '60s, so we feel like we know kind of what we're talking about. But I cover northern South Dakota, so basically Highway 14 or Brookings north of the state of South Dakota. So if I talk about some things here that doesn't make sense in your area, that's why we have reps in all the different areas to work basically with your soil types, with your cropping practices, because obviously what we do in western South Dakota may be similar to western North Dakota, but it's sure not the same as it is up here in the valley. So keep that in mind. That's why we have reps scattered across the state, and say we're a small company and we're certainly willing to work with you. A little bit on our toolbar that we've got set up here. We just basically set up a 6-row bar. You can see we've got several different setups as far as the rows go on here. But basically we use a 20-inch leading coulter. We're using a large, heavy knife that we actually make in Hutchinson, Minnesota. You'll see on our knife is fairly aggressive. In the Dakotas, we really like that, especially in some of this wheat stubble. We're actually we're building or working about a 6-inch zone there. 6 to 8 inches deep is kind of what we're targeting. Our shank is taking about 20 horse a shank, so if we get a lot of requests for 24-row 30-inch strip till bars, we can do that, provided you got the ponies on the front to pull it, because it will pull hard. On this particular row unit we got set up here, our disc sealer on the back is actually mounted directly to the shank with a spring-loaded 2 13-inch disc sealers. This is a little bit of a, I wouldn't say what our standard strip till is. Normally we do an 18-inch disc sealer here. The advantage to having it mounted directly to the shank, if you get in some tough soils, that really does a nice job of help build that berm behind the row unit. So when we come back in the spring, we don't have an inverted berm. Basically, we're trying to build a good 4 or 5 inch high berm in the fall. Over winter, that's going to settle down and lay down, so when you come through with the planter in the spring, you're going to have a nice level berm out there to work with. The other disc sealer that we're working with over here is actually a free-floating, so we allow the left one to actually raise and lower separately, so they're not mounted together. That really helps us in a heavy trash area, allows trash to flow through, dump out one side or the other. Or you guys probably aren't used to working with this, but we have a thing called rocks in South Dakota. This has been a very nice feature here to allow that rock to actually escape or penetrate out without actually destroying a lot of things behind us. So the free-floating disc sealers work very well for us in South Dakota. Also the notch blade, you'll see we've offered an 18-inch notch blade disc sealer. I found in wheat stubble and even soybean stubble to an extent that notched disc sealer has worked well to help keep that berm not necessarily a little cleaner as far as trash goes, but to actually create a little more of a uniform, don't want to say tilled berm, but somewhat to that extent. Berm conditioning baskets in the back is a new offering that we've been offering. I'm not a big believer in it for fall strip till. I don't think it's completely necessary because we've got the wintering process to level things back off. Come spring, if you're going to do spring strip till, and you heard him talking that spring strip till probably isn't a good option, and I agree with that 100%. But if you are forced into a spring strip till, I would highly recommend some type of a berm conditioning basket in the back to help level that berm and actually more or less settle that berm back down to get the air out of it. So John's up in the cab there. He's actually our North Dakota rep, or our southern North Dakota rep. He'll make a round down here, and again, we'll be around with any questions, and we'd be happy to work with you one-on-one.